If you are a person who suffers from pet allergies, there are several things that you can do to reduce the amount of pet dander that is in your home. Most pet allergies are caused by pet dander. That's the thing that makes everybody sneeze and cough and carry on. So, if you have pet allergies, you can do several things to reduce your symptoms. And also, there's so many things that you can do to reverse or lessen pet dander that you might be able to have a pet when you think you can't if you follow these steps. My name is Deborah. I own a website called peoplelovinganimals.com. And today we're going to go over 10 steps to get rid of pet dander. I'm going to go over these with you quickly, and then we are going to just talk about the things that you can do. I am going to give you a link to this blog post called 10 Steps to Get Rid of Pet Dander from my website. I'll give you the link in the description box of today's video, and I'll also give you a link to other things that I'm going to, resources that I'm going to be talking with you about. So just relax, listen to the 10 steps, and then when you're done with the video, you can click into this post and read it to get more information if you'd like to. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you joining me today. I hope that this helps you. Okay, 10 simple steps to get rid of pet dander. First, brushing. Just brush your pets more often. It helps to get rid of loose fur. It helps to get rid of dead skin. It helps to get rid of dirt. It just helps. I'm going to give you some links for Amazon in the description box for some nice dog brushes, cat brushes, pet shampoo, anything that we talk about in the video. I'll give you some links for. The second tip is to bathe your animal. Now, if you have a dog, I don't know, I think it depends on your dog's activity level. Like if you have a dog who's mostly on the couch and or it's maybe elderly and they just go out to, pee in the grass or whatever, they might not need a bath as often as a pet that you might have running around in the yard, going to the park, splashing in the mud, all that kind of stuff. Also depends on their fur. If you have a little wiener dog, well, they don't have a lot of fur. They don't, you don't have to brush them that much, whereas if you have a bushier dog with more fur, they're low to the ground, their fur gets dirty. Obviously it depends on the dog of how much you bathe them. But if you have allergies, bathing your dog a little bit more often is going to help. I'm going to give you, I made a video about how to bathe your dog, tips to make it easier. I'll give you that link in the description box. Now, when it comes to cats, most cats don't need a bath ever. Not even a flea bath, because I have found in 40 years of pet ownership that flea baths don't work. But I'm going to give you a link to that video as well about how often to bathe your pets, how to bathe your dog, and why not to bathe your cat. But you can brush your cat. And that's going to do better anyway. Go get a nice cat brush, one that's intended for cats, and that's going to do a good job of keeping your cat clean and getting rid of excess fur and getting rid of excess pet dander from your cat. The third is vacuuming. Just vacuum often. Obviously, that gets rid of dust, it gets rid of mites, it gets rid of fur, it gets rid of everything. There is such a thing as a HEPA filter vacuum that is even more effective for specific allergens. So I'm going to give you a link to get one of those on Amazon if you feel like you would really like to get a good vacuum cleaner that's going to do a better job for this particular purpose. Also, just mopping, make sure your floors are clean. I think mopping can be a real pain, and so my sister hooked me up with a Swiffer wet mop, and oh my God, they're like so much easier. They're like so much easier to just mop your floor. So I'm going to give you a link to one of those as well. Also, just dusting. You don't necessarily, when I was a kid, we had to take turns doing all the housework every Saturday, and I always hated it when my turn was to dust because my mother would make us take everything off the tables, like the coffee table, the end table, take everything off, and then spray with Pledge, and then wipe it all off and put everything back. And I just hated it. I thought it was just such a pain. So now I have one of those cloth Swiffer dusters that you just go around real quick, and only if I'm honest, only 6 months or every 6 months or so do I take everything off and dust. But I don't have allergies. So if you have allergies, you really should dust more often. And it could be, you do the whole thing, you do the pledge, dusting spray, all that stuff. It could also just wipe everything off with a damp microfiber cloth. I mean, even that, or spraying the microfiber cloth with some pledge or some dusting spray and just give everything a quick, wiping off. Obviously, eliminating dust and eliminating pet dander that has landed on everything is going to help you a lot. Also, you can get a pet dander air purifier. It's a HEPA air purifier, and that can remove pet dander and other allergens from the air. So, again, I'm going to give you a link to get a HEPA air purifier. The other thing is to wash your pet's bedding often. You know, people have always told me in the 100 years that I've had animals, they've always said when we walk into your house, you would never know you have a pet. I've had cats, but I take care of the litter box. My house doesn't smell like a litter box. My house doesn't smell like dog and cat and all that kind of stuff. And one of the reasons it doesn't is because I wash my pet's bedding. Um, Now, some of the pet beds you can actually throw in the washing machine, and you should do that minimally. I would say 2 times a year. If you have allergens, do it more often. But just get little inexpensive blankies. You can get them at garage sales, you can get them at the thrift stores, you can get them at estate sales, or just inexpensive baby blankets are great to put in your pet's bed. You can even use, sheets. Twin bed sheets are great. You can pick them up at garage sales and use them. But the trick is, not only is it nice and cozy for your pet in their bed, but once a week you can throw it in the wash and, put a fresh one on. So make sure you have at least a couple for each of your pet beds. And then every week when you do your laundry, throw that blanket in the wash, so you always have that clean, fresh pet bedding. Also, protecting your own bed. Now, whether or not if you have pet allergens, you might not even be able to let your pet in your room at all. They might not be allowed anywhere near your bed. You certainly don't want them on your pillowcase, like all of that. It depends on, how severe your allergies are. But regardless of how severe they are, you might just get a sheet. And again, pick it up at a garage sale. You don't have to spend a lot of money on stuff, but just get like a queen size sheet and put it over your bed. And like with me, I sleep under the covers and my cat Whisker sleeps with me, but he jumps up on me. You know what I mean? He's not under the covers with me. He's on top of my bed. So if I had allergens, I could cover my bedspread with a sheet and then literally just wash that sheet often. You could even put a fresh sheet on every night if you wanted to. But just protect your own bedding so that that pet fur and pet dander is not accumulating in your room. Another thing you might do just for allergens in general is to change your pillowcase often. I personally change my pillowcase like once or twice a week just because, I don't know, I just want it to be fresh. So I'm going to give you link to a free tutorial from professional dog trainer Doggy Dan on 7 steps to keep your dog off the furniture. And that's kind of for pets in general. So if you have allergies and you're like, you know what, I can't throw the couch in the wash. Like I need them to stay off. Stay off my recliner. Again, you can cover things with sheets and that makes it easier because you can wash those sheets. But if you're struggling just trying to get your pets to stay off your furniture or even off your bed, that tutorial will give you some good tips on how you can do that. The ninth tip is to protect your furniture. Either keep them off the furniture or you can put sheets or blankets on your furniture that, again, they can be washed regularly to just keep up on things. And the 10th tip is to know that diet can help. Providing your pet with good nutrition can improve their skin health, which can reduce excessive dander. So you can ask your vet for recommendations about this. I'll give you a couple recommendations. Just get a better quality pet food if you can, and you might even want to go and get fresh pet food. I'll give you a link for the Farmer's Dog for dog fresh pet food and Smalls fresh cat food for cats. Now, from what I understand, pets that are switched to fresh food, they have like unbelievable, amazing improvements in their health and their energy and everything. But one of the things I hear repeatedly is their skin and their fur is so nice. Well, if you have an animal that has dry skin all the time, has pet dander all the time, shedding all the time, if they can have a nutrition that helps with their overall, just skin and their fur and their coat, that could be helpful for you. Otherwise, also, I don't know if you realize there is such a thing as a pet dander removal service. They're a service that you can hire and you can bring them into your home. And they don't just do regular house cleaning, they specialize in anti allergen house cleaning. So, that might be something that, obviously, if you can afford it. I'm going to give you a link for that so you can see like what the costs are and stuff. But you might be able to do that instead of house cleaning. Just have them come in every week or whatever, or once a month, or you might just spring and fall, or maybe just once a year. You could hire a company like that to just kind of do a deep cleaning. That's more that you than you can do. Just like on your weekly basis with regular house cleaning. So, a couple more things before we go. I donate to animal charities. I get a small commission for some of the products and services that I recommend on my website and on this YouTube channel. And then I donate 10% of my profits to animal charities. If you go to the homepage of my website, peoplelovinganimals.com, you will see a list of the animal charities that I donate to. So again, thanks so much for watching. I hope that this was helpful. If it was, please go ahead and give it a like. Please share it with other pet owners, or especially somebody who, if they think they can't get a pet because of allergies, it's worth it. Give them the video. Maybe they can manage to have a pet, and maybe it would make them really happy. Obviously, they would want to check with their doctor first and, make sure they're not going to open up a can of worms for themselves. But, like I said, if the allergy is not that severe, they might be able to get a pet. But if you have allergies, I really hope that this helps you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment. Again, my name is Deborah, and my website is peoplelovinganimals.com. Thanks again. Bye-bye.